Joined by head coach Kevin Epley here at the Carolina Tennis Center, where the Gamecocks are getting ready to hit the road up to Raleigh, North Carolina for the NCAA tournament. South Carolina making its 26th appearance in a row in this tournament, its 30th overall. Coach, I think the real story of the season is kind of the turnaround that happened about a couple months ago. We've talked about it, how South Carolina was sitting at 4-9, 1-5 in the SEC. I mean, things were looking pretty desperate at that point, and had this great turnaround, win 8 out of 10 to close out the season, finished with a winning record in the league, made the semifinals of the conference tournament, a big upset over Florida. Just how proud are you of this team and just how far they've come from where they were 2 months ago?
Oh yeah, we were talking about that last night. I mean, it's nice to be able to look back on the regular season and the SEC tournament and know that we did turn it around. And it really was a testament to the girls. We had at that 1-5 point. We actually had a meeting in our movie room and basically said, you have a choice. I mean, we can either give up on the season or you guys can make up the mind to turn this around. And they unanimously said that we're going to turn this thing around, and that's exactly what they did. So, testament to them and the decisions they made to work hard and never give up, because it would have been easy to roll over at that point.
Well, really impressive too, just when you think about the fact that you've got some seniors on this team who the only thing they know is going to at least the round of 16 at the NCAA tournament, not just making it. I mean, they're used to having deep runs in this NCAA tournament. Just how critical were, Mia and Megan and Sylvia and just, and helping with that turnaround and sort of maybe talking to the younger ones just about, what's expected of this program. That it's not just making the NCAA tournament, that it's making a run in it too.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's key. I mean, looking at the SEC tournament, for example, as we get that big win over Florida, that was a real team effort. And getting into the next day, you could see the experience in our older players in the semifinals, girls that have been there, girls that have beaten the number one team in the country and won a championship. So they were ready to keep on going. But I think the moment got a little big for some of the younger ones, and it's just experience. I mean, that was their first SEC tournament at all. So, I mean, it's just so that kind of experience, you can't just imprint experience on people. They actually have to go through the ups and downs and turn things around and know that they belong there. But as far as Sylvia, Megan, and Mia, I mean, they're not afraid of anybody, and they know they can win on any given day against anybody. So they fully expect it. There is no sort of, hierarchy where they feel like that team, the number one seed, number two seed, is way out of their league. They're going to walk into all those matches expecting to win.
Well, an interesting regional here heading up to Raleigh. Your first round opponent, a lot of times it's a team you're maybe not familiar with. And in this case, it's Iowa State. South Carolina and Iowa State have never played each other in their histories. And for Iowa State, they're kind of one of the, feel-good stories of this tournament. It's their first appearance ever in the NCAAs. So, I mean, this team's going to be excited, and certainly they're going to want to, try to get their first win ever in the NCAA tournament as well. So I assume you probably don't know a whole lot about this team, but, when you look at just the matchup itself, I mean, what does South Carolina need to do to make sure, that they don't let Iowa State get that first NCAA tournament victory as well?
Well, Iowa State has actually been coming along a few years now. The coach there has done an incredible job recruiting, and I think everybody knows that. Got a very, very talented squad, had some good results this year. Can't take them lightly, a strong squad for sure. For us, it's always a matter of doing what we do and getting in mode and playing South Carolina tennis and all that entails. We don't worry too much about the opponents in particular, and today, I think we started a little slow, kind of getting an eye on them. And by the end of practice, they were playing well, and they seemed to look motivated and looking like they want to continue.
Well, it's hard to, not look at some of the other teams in that regional, in particular NC State, just because this is a team you've already played once, at the beginning of the season. Played that team last year too to open the 2020 season. So and it's pretty much the same team. I mean, both teams almost have identical lineups from those matches. So you're familiar with this squad. Mm-hmm. I guess is it helpful at all in a way that a lot of these girls have all been up to Raleigh at least, and they've been to the facility. They know what's up there. They've seen NC State before. They know what that's all about. Do you feel like that's an advantage of any kind heading up there?
Yeah, I mean, I think having seen them before is helpful. We haven't been successful the last few times we played them, so hopefully we can get beyond that. This time of year they're going to be a very tough team. They're a tough squad. They're very well coached. They're a lot like the ACC version of us, to be honest. I mean, just very, very gritty. Willing to go the distance. We'll fight. We'll get in your face a little bit and let you know they're not going to go anywhere. So I expect a real tough match if we're fortunate enough to get that far. And I expect them to be ready for sure, playing on their home turf out there. They're a team that's always very tough at home.
You talked earlier about how going to the SEC tournament, those younger players didn't know what that postseason was like, and now, they got 3 matches in there, so they did get a pretty good taste of what postseason play is like, and having to play 3 days straight like that, and going up there, it's 2 days at most. But I wanted to ask you particularly about just Allie Grotkowski, and she was the one that clinched that match against Florida, just how, and also clinched the doubles playing with Elise Mills, who's not her regular doubles partner up there. Just how big was that just for her young career, coming in January, it's first semester. We've talked before about how hard that is just to come in that late and not have a fall or anything to prep. But for her, just winning a match like that against a perennial power like Florida to clinch a match in a postseason, how critical is that for her career?
Oh, it was huge, and you can't underestimate that, given the context of her season, Just a few weeks before that, she could barely even hit her strength. I mean, she got the yips, as we call it. It's all very, very overwhelming, particularly if you come in January, and particularly in our program. I mean, it's tough. I mean, it's tough mentally and emotionally and physically. And she hadn't had a break. She hadn't been through an SEC season. She's learning on the fly. Confidence goes down a little bit, and decides she can't hit her strength, which is her backhand. Start pulling off the ball. But just kind of kept plugging away, and you just never know what's going to come down the pike the next day. And to do it against Florida at the SEC tournament, and just really fight through the nerves and confidence and everything else that she was fighting, other than the opponent on that particular day, was just a remarkable testament to her strength and her steadiness. And now I'm watching her today, and she's probably hitting the best she's hit since she first came here in January. So, it's funny because sometimes during the season you can go 6 weeks just having no confidence and losing match after match after match and feel like the sky is falling, and then one single match at the right context at the right tournament can turn it all around and really help you out.
We'll certainly be looking for big things from her this weekend and from everybody out there. Everybody's really come on strong at the end of the season here. Coach, best of luck up there in Raleigh. Hope to visit with you again soon afterward.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.